We are the wind in the sails of your business. We are your compass. Chart your course towards your targets. Africa Business Radio. Towards a profitable Africa.
Hello there, it's time for another News Periscope, a podcast that rounds up and gives you a bird's eye view of what's happening around the world over the past 7 days. My name is Titilayo Oyinson, and in the highlights. Court sentences former pension boss Abdul Rasheed Maina to 8 years imprisonment. Bandits attack Zamfara community, kill 6, abduct many. Imo Assembly impeaches Speaker. INEC suspends Anambra governorship election to hold supplementary poll in Ihiala local government. Trial of IPOB leader Kanu adjourned till January 2022 as lawyers stage walkout. On the foreign scene, gunmen seize Congo villages near Uganda, Rwanda border. Coup leader Burhan says he will not be part of Sudan government after transition. In entertainment, US rappers Travis Scott and Drake sued over Astroworld Tragedy. And for sports, PSG midfielder Aminata Diallo arrested with connection to teammates' attack. And now to details. The Federal High Court in Abuja, Nigeria on Monday found the former chairman of the now defunct Pension Reform Task Team, Abdul Rasheed Maina, guilty of money laundering. This sentence was read by Justice Okon, who ruled that the Prosecutor, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) produced essential evidence through witnesses. These witnesses, upon cross-examination, proved beyond reasonable doubt that Maina was guilty of money laundering to the sum of 171,999,000 naira. The court added that the defendant called only one witness to his defense when he had the opportunity to call as many as he could. The evidence in chief of the witness did not help the defendant, as they did not relate the charges against the defendants, the court noted. Also, the justice found Maina guilty of concealing his true identity as a signatory to accounts opened in 2 banks by using the identity of his family members without their knowledge. These accounts had cash deposits of 300 million naira, 500 million naira, and 1.5 billion naira, according to the judgment. Armed bandits have reportedly killed 6 persons and abducted many others during an attack in Ridia village in Gusau local government area of Zamfara state. A resident, Mustafa Ibrahim, said the bandits stormed the community late Sunday afternoon and started shooting sporadically when they entered the community. According to him, the bandits also went from house to house, collecting food items and other things they needed. He added that during the house-to-house search, the bandits also took several other people with them. Zamfara police spokesperson Mohammed Shehu could not be reached for comments as his known phone number did not connect, perhaps because of the network disruption put in place by the government. Kaduna State Government at the weekend held a meeting with stakeholders where it briefed them on issues bordering on security and other government policies. The meeting, which held at Murtala Square, Kaduna, was chaired by the state governor, Malam Nasir El-Rufai. El-Rufai said the meeting was a brief to stakeholders on security challenges, adding that so far, the security operatives have been quite successful. He said this had led to a reduction in security breaches.
Police operations in the state against the bandits, which has been quite successful so far. Incidents have reduced, and this process is ongoing. We've just renewed it for another month. The measures that we've taken, shutting down telecoms networks, restricting markets and motorcycles and so on, we've explained further. We know it's imposing hardship on sections of the population, and we need their understanding, but they can also see the benefits of the actions taken. We've got some very good suggestions from stakeholders that we are going to use to modify some of our policies, and it's been a very rich and engaging conversation.
Away from that, Imo State House of Assembly on Monday impeached its Speaker, Paul Emeziam, during a special sitting. We gathered that Emeziam's removal followed a resolution signed by 19 of the 27 members of the House. Kennedy Ibe, a second-term member of the Assembly, has emerged as the new Speaker. Members of the House left the Assembly's premises as soon as they finished the closed-door sitting. Paul Emeziam had last week announced the impeachment of the Deputy Speaker of the Assembly, Amarachi Iwanyaun, without stating any reason for the removal. Reactions have been trailing the Independent National Electoral Commission's declaration of the 2021 Anambra gubernatorial election as inconclusive due to the inability of INEC to conduct election in Ihiala local government area of the state. The state returning officer, Professor Florence Obi, announced that election would hold in Ihiala local government area on Tuesday, November 9th. Reacting to the development are party agents of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Victor Ume, and the All Progressives Congress, Chibuzo Obiako.
So you can see the level of confidence reposed in this party by the people of Anambra State. So one can only be happy. Here, our local government area had no election, and it's been scheduled to Tuesday. So we wait within 72 hours. That election will also be conducted in Ihiala, and we will extend our lead in the election.
There was no election, not even one place. So you have to give them a chance to exercise their franchise. So we agree with that. There were some other local governments, some other registration areas, and some other polling units that they had issues where this was not working, that was not working, people were disenfranchised. So that one is still outstanding. We agree very much so with the decision. The fat lady hasn't sung yet. She's still preparing.
The Lagos state government says it's not true that 6 persons were rescued alive from the collapsed 21-story building at Gerrard Road on Saturday. This is after persons on social media began posting that 6 persons were rescued from the collapsed buildings 6 days after they were trapped in the rubble. The post claimed Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu stated this when he announced that the number of survivors had increased to 15. But Lagos State Commissioner of Information and Strategy, Gbenga Omotosho, speaking to the correspondent Najite Atirene, clarified that the 6 survivors were rescued on November 1st and were taken to police hospital at Falomo on the day of the building collapse.
Not rescued. They were the first day they were assisted. They were rescued by the community on the first day.
Oh.
It wasn't yesterday or 2 days before the statutory agencies communities. It was part of what I was talking. Plus, it wasn't a recent development, sir.
Just wanted to be clear on that because we're confused whether it was yesterday they were rescued or...
No. It was done before even statutory agencies got there. So I had that information from day one, information sharing is supposed to be within all organizations, but some people, they decided not to work with anybody outside their hospital. That was what. So just leave it as he said it.
Oh, all right, no problem.
They have been there since day one.
That's the police hospital at Falamo,
police
right?
Hospital, yes. Okay. And the same thing as they did for those ones, the same thing they did for those Muslims, the Northerners had the same experience. For those of them that died, immediately they buried them.
Meanwhile, one more body has been recovered from the site, bringing the number of bodies retrieved so far from the rubble to 43. Gunmen on Monday night seized at least 2 villages in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo near the border with Uganda and Rwanda. Lieutenant Colonel Mohindo Luanzo, the assistant to the administrator of Ruchiru territory, blamed fighters from the M23, a rebel group that seized large swaths of territory in 2012 and 2013. The 2 villages, Chanu and Runyoni, were the last redoubts of the M23 before Congolese and United Nations forces chased them into Uganda and Rwanda in 2013. Former heavyweight champion Mike Tyson on Monday offered to help Anthony Joshua gear up for his rematch with Alexander Usyk. Joshua lost his heavyweight world titles to Usyk, and the pair will go at it once more in the spring. For 32-year-old Joshua, the fight will be career-defining, with victory opening up a path to take on Tyson Fury in what would be the most lucrative fight of all time. The Nigerian Senate on Tuesday passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill and approved the electronic transmission of results. The approval was given on Tuesday when senators resumed plenary after a 3-week recess. A 7-man conference committee was constituted by the upper chamber to meet with members of the House of Representatives, conference committee, and harmonize the differences in the Senate and House versions of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. A successful harmonization would mean the National Assembly has finished the process of amending the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. The House of Representatives is also expected to follow suit by passing the bill harmonized. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami has made a case for the ministry to be given some of the proceeds of the recovered loot it has been able to recover for Nigeria. Speaking when he appeared before the House Committee on Justice for his ministry's 2022 budget defense, Malami said his call became imperative given the running cost the Ministry of Justice was incurring in its continued quest to recover looted funds stashed in foreign countries.
The Federal Executive Council, directed the Attorney General of the Federation to present a memo for the establishment of federal task force, review and validate contracts, judgments, and arbitral awards, and implement the federal verification system to prevent abuses similar to the case of fee and ID. We are making efforts to ensure that we are allocated some cost of collection from recovered funds to finance our recovery operations in view of the fact that notwithstanding the billions being recovered by the Federal Ministry of Justice, not a kobo provision is made as a cost of collection.
But Malami was not forthcoming on the amount the government had recovered so far and where the money was being kept. The chairman of the House Committee on Justice, Ugonna Ozuri, did not allow Malami to respond to questions from fellow lawmakers on how much had been recovered, among other issues they had raised. The new Speaker of Imo State House of Assembly, Kennedy Ibe, has been speaking on the circumstances that led to the impeachment of former Speaker Paul Imeziem at a news briefing in Owerri. The new Speaker assured the people of Imo State that the Assembly under his leadership will put the interests of the state first. Kennedy Ibe also said the legislature will support other arms of government to move Imo State forward.
We have made up our minds to start. House of Assembly is on course to move forward. Let me put on record that what happened on the 2nd of November in Imo State House of Assembly is, for us, a charade that should not be encouraged. And I want to thank my colleagues for rising up to this occasion to ensure that we revive, we recover the sanctity of the legislature. As Speaker, I am only primus inter pares. I am a servant. I am Speaker because you have made me Speaker. I cannot, therefore, subvert these powers to witch hunt my colleagues. Therefore, I will join my voice to reprimand, to say that what Honorable Paul Imeziem did is a sacrilege. He desecrated the parliament.
The European Commission has accused Belarus authoritarian leader of luring migrants with the false promise of easy entry to the EU as part of an inhuman gangster-style approach. At least 2,000 migrants are now at the Belarus border with Poland. Commission spokesperson Peter Stano said upon arrival they're being pushed to the border and forced to make an illegal entry into the European Union. Belarus leader Alexander Lukashenko denies orchestrating the problem. EU and NATO members Poland, Lithuania and Latvia have all seen a surge in the number of people trying to enter their country illegally from Belarus in recent months. Manchester United midfielder Paul Pogba could miss the remaining of 2021 after injuring his thigh on duty with France. Initial estimates from the France camp suggest 28-year-old will be out for between 6 and 8 weeks. According to the reports, the injury will take Pogba till the end of the year, at which point he can sign pre-contract terms with overseas clubs given his United deal runs out in June. Pogba would miss 2 Champions League group games and up to 10 Premier League matches if he's out for 8 weeks. On Wednesday, the trial of alleged treason against Nigeria brought against the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, was adjourned to January 19, 2022. The presiding judge of the Federal High Court, Abuja, Justice Binta Nyako, took the decision after Kanu's lawyers, led by his lead counsel, Ifeanyi Ejiofor, staged a walkout before the trial opened. The action of Kanu's legal team was as a result of the action of the Directorate of State Services denying some of the Biafran agitators' lawyers, including his American defense counsel, Bruce Fein, access into the court. When the matter was called by Justice Nyako, counsel to the Attorney General of the Federation, Mohammed Abubakar, announced an appearance for the AGF. However, no lawyer was in court to announce an appearance for the leader of IPOB. While pleading for an adjournment, Abubakar told Justice Nyako that following the non-appearance of any lawyer on Kanu's behalf shortly after the case was called, the Nigerian government had no option but to call for the adjournment. Ifeanyi Ejiofor, Kanu's lead counsel, said the legal team did not walk out of the court. Instead, they were locked out.
When we are going to go to the court, they insisted that they can only allow 5 members of the legal team to be inside. Only 5. And we'll have at least a maximum of 8 persons along with us up there. I'm not talking about those that were denied access to the court premises. We are outside trying to resolve that issue. Because we can't continue this manner. We have people that came from all the way from Aba today. We have a person who is representing Igbo lawyers here. He was not allowed access to the court. We have people who are representing Ndi Otokiwu. We have people who are representing Ohanes and Ndiwu. They were not allowed access to the court today. So we insisted that the right thing must be done. After all, we have over 9 members of legal team representing the federal government today in court. They were in court. Lawyers. We also have over 10 members of SSS officials right inside the court. Why can't they allow at least some members of the legal team defense team to be in court? So they refuse to do that. And we are outside the court door trying to resolve these challenges. The court came in, locked the door, then denied access to the court. Before we could speak to Jack Robinson, the matter has been adjourned to 19th and 20th of January.
Meanwhile, Bruce Fein, the American lawyer of Nnamdi Kanu, has threatened to drag Nigeria into the International Criminal Court over alleged gross violation of his client's rights.
Nnamdi Kanu's international lawyer to try to meet and see him, where I was denied 5 times. It was very clear today that I was the one that caused them to lock everybody out of the courtroom. They did not want me in the courtroom. I'm here not to create an irritant. There are huge international law issues raised by the charges against Nnamdi Kanu, including the kidnapping, extraordinary rendition, punishing him without any trial or hearing, denying him access to his lawyers. These are all violations not only of the Nigerian Constitution, but international covenants to which Nigeria is a signatory. I am taking now the case to the international forum and tribunals. It's clear that the Nigerian tribunals are hopelessly compromised. It isn't even close to fair due process. And so I'll be going to the working group on arbitrary detention in Geneva, the International Criminal Court and International Court of Justice in The Hague, the U.S. Congress, to impose sanctions on Nigeria until it conforms to internationally recognized human rights to which Nigeria has already subscribed to enforce its own constitution. I have seldom seen such open, notorious lawlessness.
Kanu, who has been agitating for the secession of the Southeast, was arrested in Nairobi, Kenya in June. The separatist leader is currently facing a 7-count charge bordering on terrorism, treasonable felony, and insulting President Muhammadu Buhari. And now, President Buhari has congratulated a former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Professor Charles Soludo, on winning the 2021 Anambra governorship election. The Independent National Electoral Commission on Wednesday declared Soludo the winner of the election, which was held on November 6th. Reacting, Buhari, in a post on Facebook, urged the candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance to tackle the challenges confronting Anambra State and the Southeast. On his part, Soludo extended the olive branch to his opponents.
To my fellow candidates in the election, I wish to congratulate you for the gallant contest. Our people have spoken overwhelmingly, and surely that voice is the voice of God. The ultimate winner is Anambra people. We are all winners. I hereby extend my hand of fellowship to all of you. I need all of you to succeed.
Meanwhile, the candidate for the People's Democratic Party in the just concluded Anambra governorship election, Valentine Ozigbo, has conceded defeat and congratulated the winner and candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Chukwuma Soludo. Soludo, 61, won with 112,229 votes, beating Ozigbo, who polled 53,807 votes, and Andy Uba of the All Progressives Congress, who got 43,285 votes. Ifeanyi Uba of the Young Progressive Party polled 21,261 votes, coming fourth. The UK Supreme Court has rejected a claim that sought billions of pounds in damages from Google over alleged illegal tracking of millions of iPhones. The judge said the claimant had failed to prove damage had been caused to individuals by the data collection. He did not rule out the possibility of future mass action lawsuits if damages could be calculated. Afghanistan's former finance minister has blamed the government's fall on corrupt officials who invented ghost soldiers and took payments from the Taliban. Khalid Payenda said that most of the 300,000 troops and police on the government's books did not exist. He said phantom personnel were added to official lists so that generals could pocket their wages. A midfielder for Paris Saint-Germain, Aminata Diallo, has been arrested in connection with the attack on her teammate Kiera Hamraoui. Two masked men took Hamraoui out of her car, punching and hitting her legs. An official statement from PSG says the club strongly condemns the violence committed. The club is working with the police to shed light on the facts. And on Thursday, the Nigerian police arrested at least 14 persons in connection with siege on Justice Mary Odili's apartment in Abuja. Some of the suspects include a fake chief superintendent of police, Lawrence Ajodo, a contributing editor with one of the national dailies, and an Islamic scholar. The Force spokesman, Frank Umba, who paraded the suspects in Abuja, explained that their arrest followed a swift investigation by police. He said that at least 10 more persons linked with the incident, including 2 military personnel, are at large.
A total of 14 suspects are here with us today. 7 are still at large, and detectives are working around the clock to round up the remaining suspects who are either directly or indirectly linked with this very serious offense. In the course of our investigations, we discovered that the man who was acclaimed to be a chief superintendent of police, Lawrence Ajodo, is in fact not a police officer. We discovered that although the team, this syndicate actually obtained a search warrant, that particular search warrant was obtained based on false representations that were made.
This is what one of the suspects, Lawrence Ajodo, said when paraded by police on the Minister of Justice.
They give me 29 accounts to recover. They did not give to any Shamba. I'm the one they give. Malami give to me. But this assignment I went, Malami did not send me. So I'm a consultant. I'm a recovery.
The incident on October 29th drew criticism from many quarters, including the Nigerian Bar Association, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, and human rights lawyer Femi Falana, among others. The Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, has distanced himself from the confessions of a suspect paraded by the police in connection with the attack on the residence of Justice Mary Odili. The AGF called on the suspect to produce evidence of contractual agreement between them, the terms for references of the alleged consultancy service, and when he was engaged. The Special Assistant to Malami on Media and Public Relations, Dr. Umar Gwandu, made the clarification in a statement issued in Abuja. He said the attention of the Minister of Justice has been drawn to a confession of a suspect during interrogation in the investigation of the recent invasion of the residence of the highly respected Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Mary Odili. Gwandu said it only takes the imagination of evil minds to assume or think that the Minister of Justice will descend so low to engaging a quack or fake police officer to serve as his consultant. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has accused the federal government of intimidating the judiciary ahead of the 2023 general elections in the country. Wike stated this during a special court session to mark the opening of the 2021-2022 legal year of the Rivers State Judiciary in Port Harcourt. The governor said the federal government wants to continue to ride roughshod unchecked over the rule of law and the sanctity of the country's electoral system, hence the renewed attack on judicial officers.
The political season is by the corner, and Nigeria must understand that the assault on Justice Mary Odili was not an isolated incident, but take it for what it is. The resumption of the federal government's infamous tactic of browbeating the judiciary to a state of fear and conformity.
The former president of South Africa and the last white person to lead the country, F.W. de Klerk, has died at the age of 85. De Klerk, who was also a key figure in the transition to democracy, had been diagnosed with cancer earlier this year. He was head of state between September 1989 and May 1994. In 1990, he announced he was releasing Nelson Mandela, leading to the historic elections that brought the anti-apartheid leader to power. Aston Villa has appointed Steven Gerrard as manager on a 3.5-year deal, ending his 3-year reign at Rangers. 41-year-old former Liverpool captain leaves the Scottish champions, having guided them to a First League title in 10 years last season. Gerrard replaces Dean Smith, who was sacked on Sunday after a run of 5 successive defeats. Villa are 16th in the Premier League, 2 points above the relegation zone. Gerrard described Aston Villa as a club with a rich history and tradition in English football, adding he was proud to become its new head coach. The Nigerian police on Friday arrested a commercial driver suspected to be responsible for the death of Vanguard journalist Tordue Salem. The Force Public Relations Officer Frank Umba said Clement was arrested following an investigation carried out by the Force Intelligence Bureau. The suspect, a 29-year-old Itoro Clement, was paraded on Friday in Abuja. He explained why he did not wait after the accident, claiming that the area where the incident occurred is notorious for criminal activities.
So I turned around to that where they have checking points to go and report that I knocked someone down. Getting there, I just stand there and talk to the police. Then I left to go and park my vehicle because my vehicle was damaged. I had injury on my hand. Where I used to park car, they know me since I started driving. I don't have a safety place where I used to park car. That's where I used to park car, pay 200. I park my car there. In the morning, I called Panavita to come and help me fix the car. Getting there, I found out that there was a smartphone on my windscreen where they have a wiper. Knowing nothing of the phone, because I was thinking that it's armed robber that I knocked down, because they were chasing somebody. I was thinking that it's armed robber that I knocked down, so I left. Seeing the phone there, I know nothing about the phone. I just threw the phone there and I left.
Salem's body was found on Thursday, November 11th, more than a month after he went missing. In an interview with us, the Lagos chairman of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, Adeleye Ajayi, described his death as one too many.
This is becoming too many killings of journalists, and I think it's time we take a very drastic action. And the government has a major role to play. Impunity against journalists is becoming so rampant, and there's the need to address all these such impunities. You will recall that in the last 10 years or 20 years, a lot of journalists have been either killed, tortured, or harassed. You remember the death of Bayoru, you remember Tunde Ladepo, you remember Edo Bagu, and the roots of others, Belegiwa and the rest. I think government should try to get to the root of all these killings. It's high time journalists are highly protected. If the Constitution offers us the role of the fourth estate of the realm, I think we should be allowed to operate as the fourth estate of the realm. and we're so sad that this is happening. All we thought initially was that he was just missing and would be found alive, but unfortunately he has been discovered dead. So sad, and I think action needs to be taken by the relevant security agencies to forestall a reoccurrence, because who knows who is next.
The court in military-ruled Myanmar has jailed American journalist Danny Fenster for 11 years, despite U.S. calls for his release from what is said was unjust detention. 37-year-old Fenster, the managing editor of online magazine Frontier Myanmar, was found guilty of incitement and violations of immigration and unlawful association laws. His magazine said, describing the sentences as the harshest possible under the law. He is the first Western journalist sentenced to prison in recent years in Myanmar, where a February 1st coup by the military against an elected government led by Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi ended a decade of tentative steps towards democracy and triggered nationwide protests. No fewer than 15 people have been wounded in an explosion inside a mosque in Afghanistan's eastern province of Nangarhar. The Taliban's local director of information and culture, Hanif Nangarhari, said the blast happened during Friday's prayers in the province's Spingarh district. Hanif Nangarhari said initial information indicated that at least 15 worshippers were wounded in the incident. And that's it on this week's edition of News Periscope podcast. If you have any stories for us, please send them our way. You can always reach out to us on africabusinessradio.com. You can also send me an email at titithedynamite@gmail.com or reach out via WhatsApp on 0805 4444 795. My name is Titilayo Oyinso. Once again, thanks for listening.
We are the wind in the sails of your business. We are your compass. Chart your course towards your targets. Africa Business Radio. Towards a profitable Africa.